Hey everybody, Psychosaurus is here. Welcome back to Age of Empires Online. And today, well, how should I say it? There has been a number of maintenances because the Indians playtest was going on. And so there was a lot of balancing happening in the background. But there has been few changes as well, and I want to talk about those. So there's been a number of maintenances. I feel like there was like 6 or 7 of those, maybe even more. I did not really count them, but many. Okay. And what I'm gonna focus on are 3 of those. And to be honest, how should I say it? Like one of those changes, I'm like against it, strongly against it, and the other one is like that came out of nowhere. So let's get into it. So this one was on October the 5th, so like 10 days ago. So this one. Balance changes. Greek temple cost reduced to 200, wood from 300, Persian War Academy cost reduced to 200 from 300, Roman temple and North Great Hall, basically the same stuff, okay? These structures being reduced to cost reduced to 200, wood from 300. This came out of nowhere, like I don't know why, what reason, but okay. I'll be honest, I'm not someone going for priests almost at all. Like, you'll rarely see me going for priests. Like, maybe I'll train 1 or 2 to just heal my unit sometimes. That can be useful. But overall, you will not really see me going for priests that often. And if we talk about like the other states, because these are the Greeks, Romans, Persians, and Norse. So we have Egyptians. They use their temples to age up, so they will build those. Babylonians will build theirs to age up as well. Celts, they have the sacred groves, which cost like 150 wood, if I remember correctly, so that's already very cheap. And Celts kind of need it early because of the druid, so you can heal your units, buff them, and make your civ aggressive early. Yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And yeah, only these 3, right? 7 in total. So those were the 3. Okay. And so we have Greeks, which don't really need their temple, so it's just there, available in H3. If you want those priests, you can go for those. Romans, practically the same, except their priests are mainly focused on conversion, while they use the clinicus from the Academy to heal. But Academy is mainly the tech structure, so that one is okay, I would say. And then the North Great Hall, of course, we have the Seers, Rhapsodes, and the Chiefs there. So it's like, yeah, you get like 1 of those and you're done, okay? Usually temples are not something you build a lot. You just build like 1 and train like few priest units, and that's it, right? I think the most important one though is gonna be the Persian War Academy here, because Persian War Academy, of course, it's a text structure. There are a few interesting texts there, so that's very good. But most important, the Persians have their toggle text at the War Academy. So once you build the War Academy, you can use your toggle text, which means this change is really good for Persians in H3 starts, because now you're saving 100 wood, which you can invest where, like storehouses, for example. Like, hey, you want to, because you build a war academy. Why do you build a war academy in H3? Because the paid labor, so you can fast produce your villagers. You put them on gold, on trees, maybe if you own food, whatever. But the main thing is you train a lot of villagers, and guess what? You will need to drop off those resources somewhere, and so you need storehouses. And usually you start like building your 2 TCs. Now imagine you build the war academy. You start with 1,000 wood. Hey, suddenly you have only 100 wood, which means 2 storehouses. Well, if we are using at least 3 different kinds of resources, well, we are lacking 1 storehouse. So saving this 100 wood is definitely a huge buff for Persians, in my opinion. Definitely great. So that's one thing. Plus, the War Academy is available in H2 already, but the reason you get it for is the first toggle tag, which buffs the training time of barracks, stables, and archer range units. So for those, but of course for higher cost. So it's not really something you would go for this early, because all those resources you would have to spend on those units, yeah, you don't really want to do that. You just want to make sure you have enough resources to research your tags, improve yourself, and quickly age up and then build your army. But like, yeah, if you are in need to, let's say, defend yourself and you need a lot of units for that, of course this can help. So again, it's a huge buff. For the other civs, like you build like one temple, hey, you train a few priests, or you never build it at all. So from my point of view, the only winner I see here is Persian War Academy. The other ones, like, it happened, who cares, to be honest, because you usually build one and at that point you're like, yeah, who cares, I have more than enough wood. So from my point of view, this came out of nowhere. The winner is Persian, of course. But yeah, I think there was, oh yeah, during the playtest something happened and the Egyptian elephant archers did cost food again, which was like, man, keep it there, come on, keep it there. No, they have to revert that back. So fix an issue where the Egyptian elephant archer had its stats reset to a previous patch's data. I'll keep saying it, I think the Egyptian elephant archers should cost food, and no, they are not your typical ranged unit. They do not behave the same way. So don't you ever dare. If you want to make them cost wood, then make them behave as the other ranged units. That's what I say. Fix an issue where the Egyptian villager did not correctly equip the heroic Indian vanity helmet. That's another good point here, because in the Vanity Island, you can actually purchase the heroic Indian vanity now. So if you want to check it out, go there, see for yourself. It's not bad, to be honest. I would say that's pretty nice looking vanity, so on some units you could find it interesting. But yeah, that's all from this one. The most important one being this, of course, the lower cost of the temples. Whatever, it happened. Tell me what do you think about it yourself, because I feel like just Persian War Academy is the winner here. Now we are moving on to October the 9th, and here's the one thing I don't really like. I don't like it. Quest updates: City Defense Conquest. Treasuries and Victory Towers now only interact with military units. This is actually a good buff. This one I would say is a really good buff, because in City Defense Conquest you could have used the consumable to summon cows, and because of those cows you could just prevent the enemy to capture your structures, which was, of course, too strong. So if you ask me, this is a good change. It completely ruins that exploit and it does not exist anymore. Definitely good change. I definitely appreciate that. Never used it myself, I'll say, okay? Never used it myself. Well, maybe once just to see if it actually works. But I don't think I actually tested it properly, did I? I'm thinking. I actually did not. Maybe I tried it once, but I failed it. That could have happened. Well, whatever. Does not exist anymore. Good change. And then the one I hate. Okay, reserves upgrade replaced with a new upgrade. Promotion grants the champion upgrade of all free Civ specific units in the training camp. Cost 150 gold. Okay, before I talk more deeply about it, is there anything else? UI updates: snare resistance stats now displayed directly in the in-game tech tree. That's actually nice. Bug fixes: fixed an issue where several civilizations started with an incorrect unit lineup in the quest Bella Come Home. Could have happened. Okay, that's it. The most important one being, of course, cows no longer working, and this one. And just so you know, when this change happened, the promotion upgrade actually did take 60 seconds to research. But then there was maintenance yesterday, October 14th. Balance changes, promotion, city defense conquest exclusive tech. Research time reduced to 30 seconds from 60 seconds. You can see it's been reduced. And anything else? Your updates, resource trigger rate, stats now display in unit stat tooltip. I think this is going to be most important for Babylonian Gardens, maybe the Indian shrines. Not really sure how it works there. Maybe for the cows, actually, for those cows or herdables in general. That could be the thing. But yeah, the most important one is the promotion here, reduced to 30 seconds. Remember, this is 150 gold. So back here, reserves upgrade. What did it do? You might remember this one tag that would say like something like, hey, plus 100 gold capacity or whatever. Basically what it did was, like, in city conquest and defense, you have limited number of gold you can have generated from treasuries. If you have milestones, it's going beyond the limit, but with treasuries you cannot go beyond certain limit, which would be 300 gold. The reserves upgrade would increase that limit to 400 gold, and then you won't get behind it. So basically pretty useless tech, because usually you want to spend your gold as soon as possible just to upgrade your units, to train your units. And the modes are, especially city conquest, are pretty fast. Okay, so you want to really go very, very fast. Okay, and so the tags take like 10 seconds to research, but yeah, you just spend the gold. You spend the gold on upgrading your units. You spend the gold on upgrading your hero. So basically, there shouldn't be a situation where you get to 300 gold, to be honest. There shouldn't be a situation. You should always be spending that gold. So reserves actually was kind of useless. Even if you were like late game and you would like lose most of your army, you would easily replace that army without an issue. But with full upgrades, yeah, you will not really lose all of your army, and you will still generate the gold over time. So reserves were practically useless. So if you ask me, I definitely agree with some change to this tag because it's useless or overall. But the promotion, I feel like this is kind of unbalanced, or not kind of, it is unbalanced in my opinion. And I'm gonna use this screenshot that Tim made and posted onto the Discord. So of course, promotion, specifically what it says, grants champion upgrade to all 3 units. Okay, whichever Steve you're playing as, those 3 units you have will get the champion upgrade. Now this is, in my opinion, very strongly unbalanced, because there are units that are like getting huge buff, in my opinion, like really strong buff, like huge, like very useful stats that you can use and goes really well in combination with the damage and crit chance upgrade you get for city conquest. Even like for HP regions, some unit can be a little bit better. Lower cost, of course, make them move faster, whatever. City defense is not that hard, okay? So I'm not really gonna talk about city defense that much. But let's just say that it's obviously really good as well. But yeah, in city conquest, that's where I'm gonna focus more on, because that one is more harder, more challenging. So yeah, 150 gold, and it was 60 seconds. Remember what I said, that the city conquest, city defense is quite fast mode, okay? You just cannot afford to spend 60 seconds researching one dumb tech, okay? Because what does it mean? You have only one structure from which you can produce units, one structure from which you can research upgrades for your units. So if you spend suddenly 60 seconds researching, you'll be like piling up gold because you have nowhere to spend it on because you're just researching for so long. So yes, it's a huge delay for you to get your units, to get your units upgraded with the other techs. So that's kind of bad, in my opinion. You could try rushing it as well, but as I said, 60 seconds is a long time. So in the meanwhile, you're just piling up gold and not really getting your army up and running. So that's kind of no bad situation. So to be honest, you could go for it, but it was like such a high risk that I would say it was not really worth going for it. So in my opinion, yes, the nerf to the buff for the research time being lower kind of was necessary, but at the same time I'll still say that this tech is unbalanced because now let's take a look at the units. Now I want to mention like at least 3 units that where I feel like this is really strong, which is the Babylonian Lancer. And why is it for Babylonian Lancer? Not only did they get 20% extra health, they also get charge attack, which is huge. Okay, remember their charge attack deals 3 times damage of the normal attack. So suddenly you can burst the enemy units. And you have to remember that if you're playing City Conquest, Vemunder does not have any cavalry armor, which means Lancers are really good against Vemunder. So if you suddenly burst him with the charge attack, and remember, within City Conquest, you also grant your units critical hit chance through upgrades and extra damage through upgrades. So suddenly, combined with the charge attack, oh my god, those Lancers are insane. That's insanity. So there's this one unit, in my opinion, where I feel like this is really strong. And it's huge, which is Lancer. So with the 30 seconds, it's now a lot easier to get it. So you could actually even rush it if you want to. Still, it is somewhat of a risk, some delay, but like in comparison, 30 seconds versus 60 seconds, yeah, whatever. But yeah, you could like start researching it, and before the enemy even comes, you could be already researching it, and so you are able to defend anyway. And once you get it, hey, your units are much stronger. So Lancer is one. Second one would be the Egyptian Axeman, which is 25% health. That's a huge stat buff. 15% damage, which is huge stat buff. And then area damage, like splash damage. Come on, like having splash damage, man, that's really strong when you realize that there usually is like large army once in a while, and so you have splash damage to deal with that. Usually there's a lot of infantry, and even if there isn't, like, come on, the units will easily bunch up and you can just do a lot of damage with the splash damage. This is, in my opinion, really strong. And Axeman, not only Axeman, but for Egypt, the units are actually slightly cheaper because basically they are weaker. But yeah, Axeman with this buff, huge. That's huge. And third one I want to mention is Hippospis. Now, this does not look that strong as the other ones. It's just health and movement speed. Sure, but you have to remember, Greeks have Tisamenos H3, and here we go again. Tisamenos is really OP in my opinion and should be nerfed. So with this extra 25% health, guess what? If you are using Tisamenos, this actually snowballs really hard into it. And you have to remember, you can have HP regen if you're playing city defense. So the more health your Hippospis have, the longer they last, the more HP they restore through the HP regen. That's one way. And in case of Biorix, hey, there's the final tag for the damage that also grants 30% extra health. So Hippospis having huge amount of health. in City Conquest. And that's where I feel like it's really huge. So that would be that. Now, obviously, there are also some others which we could think about, like what could be good, what could be bad, yeah. But in general, these were the units I would say are really like becoming super strong. Now, units that are not really getting anything out of it, in my opinion, one of them being the Prodromos. Like having 50% snare and 50% bonus damage versus building and siege, yeah, this one does not really help you at all. And having snare, who cares? When you attack the enemy units, they'll attack you back. So having snare is practically pointless. And yeah, don't look at the colors here, like being green and that it's all good. It's not really that huge value because you have to realize, like having extra health, that's really huge help. Having speed, if you lose the unit, you can replace them faster. They will get there, or I should say, they'll get there faster. Okay, where you need them. So movement speed is definitely good. Damage is definitely great, especially when you realize, hey, critical hit chance exists in City Conquest. So yes, that's a huge snowball effect right there. And then having effects like splash damage and charge attack, that's really huge. But yeah, Prodromos is like the loser because there's nothing really. Pierce armor, now this one depends, of course, but for something like Slinger, that's actually good because enemy, well, depends what you're playing against, but either you're playing against Norse, which are using skirmishers. Who cares about skirmishers? You're not gonna train slingers just to counter skirmishers. Come on, who would care about skirmishers? You could be against Celts, they are using their slingers. Those are a little bit more threatening, I would say, in comparison to skirmishers, but still, it's an anti-ranged unit. It's not that huge deal. I wouldn't really train slingers just to counter enemy slingers. Like, why would I do that? And then we have the Peltasts, which I'm like, again, it's not that huge damage output, and it's not a unit that I would really want to counter that much with slingers. Like, why would I do that? So, in my opinion, it's nice, but why would I train slingers at all? And it's not only like Egyptian ones. We have the Celtic ones. We have the... who's got it? Babylonian one. And then Norse skirmishers and Greek Peltas. Like, there's no real reason to train those units. Like, why would I want that? And this could be actually, again, argument against the change of the Greek unit roster from Spearman, Toxotes, and Saristophorid to Hippaspis, Peltas, Prodromos. There is no real reason to train the anti-ranged units. Like, you should not be really worried about Norse skirmishers. You should not be worried about Celtic slingers. You should not be worried about Greek Peltas. They are not really huge threat to something like Hippaspis or Long Swordsman. Like, sure, they will do their damage, but is it really that much that I would have to counter them with my anti-ranged units? I don't think so. Instead, you just go cavalry, right? That's what I would do. So if you ask me, like, yeah, I would say because of the unit roster change, if there was the Toxolist, I have reason to train anti-ranged units. Now I don't. That's where I have to be critical. Okay, but yeah, back here. So if you ask me, slingers are pointless. Camel riders, again, like, you do extra damage against ranged units. Is it something that you should be worried about? Like, with the damage buffs, or you're playing in city defense where you're against Norse and it's the skirmisher. Is it really that huge value? Like, Pierce armor is okay. It's, in my opinion, Pierce armor is the yellow value here. But like the bonus damage against ranged, again, it's yellow. It's not green. Come on. It's not something that would like really make you win suddenly just because you're countering ranged units better. Like, it feels like mediocre to me. Okay, Pierce armor is nice, but like bonus against range, that's not a really huge help. Long swordsman, infantry armor is obviously great because enemy infantry And when we think about it, you're either against longswordsmen, hippaspists, or hardjars. And then there's also the hero unit that also does the infantry damage. So infantry armor is definitely great. That one I can agree with green value. Pierce armor, again, as I said, not really that huge. Helps, surely, but that huge? Nah. So in my opinion, it's yellow. So longswordsmen, okay. Slingers, sure, but I have no reason to train them. Speed is definitely nice. Bonus versus villagers, pointless. So speed is nice, but why would I train slingers? At all. Like, I'll be honest, if you're playing City Conquest and you're using the torque for critical hit chance on slingers, make sure to replace that, please, because you just get enough crit chance through the text that you don't really need any extra. And then we have the horseman. Snare, as I said, pointless. Pierce armor, it's okay, but it's not something huge. Persians, spearmen, bonus versus cavalry, that's definitely nice. You will see cavalry, you wanna kill it real fast. Movement speed, I would say spearman is okay. Bowman is okay. Extra attack rate definitely helps. And in my opinion, Asabaras are a really huge buff, like having extra health, extra damage, and movement speed. 3 great stats, okay? So Persians, in my opinion, they are winner here. Now we could argue, is bonus versus cavalry really that good? Is it? I mean, it's okay. Let's be honest, it's okay. When you're fighting enemy cavalry, there's suddenly like a lot of them. You wanna clear them as fast as possible. Having extra damage against them is definitely nice. So spearman having extra damage is definitely a good thing. Roman legionary, that's definitely great buff. Come on, like health damage, and then we combine it with the crit chance. That's definitely huge. Okay, definitely great. Cretan bowman, again, damage, range, definitely good buff. It's not that high, but it definitely helps. Line of sight, I don't know why line of sight is the red one here. Come on, it's at least yellow. It's definitely not green, but it's yellow at least. Come on. Ekes, bonus versus ranged. Who cares? Ekes already counters ranged units. Like, it's not really that needed. Pierce armor, that's okay, but Ekes already has good pierce armor. No need to have even more, but sure is nice. And then the speed, like Ekes is like okay. Cretan bowman is okay because the numbers are not that high. Legionary is definitely great. But legionaries are, I believe, legionaries are also expensive, right? They cost like 15 gold. I think that's what it is. Okay, Babylonian, Spearman, 25% damage and 20% stand. We don't care about the stand, but the damage, you have to remember, you can use Leonoria's H1 for your Spearman. Suddenly you can have like a lot of damage on your Spearman. And believe me, I tried that. Getting like 70 DPS with like 50% crit chance. Those Spearmen hurt. And for some reason, and I completely forgot about it, Babylonian Spearmen cost 10 gold each. So if like even if when I say Lancers are really strong here, you can go Spearmen as well. Like those Spearmen, they can hurt as well. Slingers, who cares? Like, yeah, immune to bonus damage, okay? You don't take bonus damage from Peltast. Fine. I don't care anyway. Why should I care about Peltast? Like, sure, maybe my Spearman will not be that great, but Lancers? Lancers don't care. Obviously, Lancers, really huge. And finally, Norse, Hardjars. Good infantry armor. Again, it's very useful, so I would say this is okay. Skirmishers, bonus versus range. That's nice, who cares? Horsemen, bonus versus cavalry. That's definitely useful. Bonus versus siege, useless. So, if you ask me, I feel like in case of Norse, this is probably the best thing. Each and everyone gets something. And probably the best thing is Each of those units actually becomes better at what they are supposed to do. Hardjars are better against infantry. Skirmishers are better against range. Horsemen better against cavalry. This is probably the best one. I like this one here. But like for the other civs, oh my god. So yeah, like I said, like don't look at these green numbers like it's Tim. Come on, don't believe everything Tim says. So if you ask me, Hippospist, Lancers, Babylonian Spearmen, Legionaries, Axemen. Who else was there? Like Asabaras, like Persians overall. I feel like these are like the winners here. And especially Lancers, Axemen, and Hippospist. Like these, in my opinion, are the biggest winners. The other ones have at least like, sure, those are nice buffs, but it's not like something that would be like super OP. But again, it costs 150 gold and it takes 30 seconds to research. You can rush it. You can rush it. One thing you need to remember, Muikmeron exists in H2 Advisor. And that one reduces the gold cost by 20%. So suddenly it's not 150, but 120. So you can afford the tech even more. And like the 30 seconds, sure, it's still a long time, but if you rush it, you can get it quite early, to be honest. With milestones you can have, that can be very fast done. Very fast. And what milestones? We have taxes from the Persians. We have prosperity from the Egyptians. And then there's also Babylonian one called surplus, which can help you here as well, because who cares about the cheaper town centers here? It is one usage for a milestone. I'll be honest, the more I think about it, I don't really care even about the cheaper town centers anymore. But I would say it's more useful than just having 15 extra resources of all kinds. But having extra 15 gold for the start in City Conquest, that definitely helps. So yeah, you can definitely rush the tech. But at the same time, you have to remember you're spending 150 gold. Maybe you could be just spending it on your army. You could spending it on the upgrades for your army. That could be also a possibility. So yeah, consider like how good the promotion is for your units. If you're playing Babylonians, it's definitely worth. Egyptians, Greeks, definitely great. So yeah, why do I hate this tech? As I said, I feel it's unbalanced. As we were going through this, like some units, huge buff. Some units, okay buffs. Some units, literally nothing. So that's one thing I don't really like about this tech. It's unbalanced. It's definitely annoying to balance it, because now, as I said, we have few units that are really using it, and with this 30 seconds, I feel like it's now so easy to get it early that... Also, I need to mention, Greeks have Socrates, H2 advisor, so instead of using Muikmenon, they can use Socrates, and that will also speed up the research of this tech. So Greeks can get this even faster than any other civ. That's another thing I need to mention. So if you ask me, it's gonna be like really annoying to balance this, because as I said, with the long time, that's a huge risk, not really worth getting it. Now it's 30 seconds, it's worth getting it, and in some cases it's really strong. And so, like, what are your ways to balance this? Like giving it huge research time does not really work, because then there's a huge risk getting it. That, so why should I be even getting it? And so, like, it cannot be long research time. So the only thing that it could be is higher cost, but then it's like super late game, and in late game you don't really need this tech. That's another thing. Like, this tech feels like you reached certain point of the game, so you grab this tech just to make sure you win. Like, it's the guarantee for you to win the game at that point, which I'm not really fan of. Okay, I don't like it for this reason as well. In my opinion, I feel like reserves was more supposed to be like for your economy, right? But it was like useless because you had just increased gold capacity you could have, which was like, yeah, whatever. I don't need it that much. So in my opinion, what should have happened with the tag should have been like, and there are two ways I would say that could have been done. I feel like it should have gone into extra gold income. So you would like pay a lot of gold early just to get extra income, which would pay off after some time. Now it would obviously depend. I feel like it could go to like it. It could be like, hey, you get one extra gold per second, trickle in. So yeah, you let's say it would be still the 100 gold cost and 10 seconds research time. So you would pay 100 gold, wait for 10 seconds, and now you're generating gold, and it would take you 100 seconds to get that investment back. Which in City Conquest, which is like fast mode, like almost 2 minutes, that's a long time. Okay, and then it will take you like another 100 seconds to get like extra 100 gold, so which is like 3.5 minutes. That's a long time, to be honest, but it would be like huge investment. But at the same time, you would invest the gold early, so you would not have your upgrades, you would not have your units early. Obviously it could be like changed a little bit, like maybe higher gold cost. It could be like maybe a little bit less gold. The other way I could imagine this working would be like, hey, you get this tech, now your treasuries are generating extra gold, let's say like 50%, okay? So they would make you still get the treasuries, but because of this tech, you would be just generating more gold over time, which could be interesting, and it could pay off really fast if you have a lot of treasuries, or make your early treasuries much more efficient, and so they would be generating a lot more gold. But it could make players like try to rush the treasuries just to get the gold income and then spend it all on the upgrades. And I feel like that could have been interesting more than just having this extra military power, which I'm like, there's no reason. It's like it's just an insurance you wear. I'm against it. Okay, I feel like reserves should have been about gold economy, like managing your economy instead of like having gold capacity. It should have been like generating extra gold. Could have been like, hey, your treasuries generate extra gold. I mean, I mean, probably could have been done. I don't know, or it could be just extra gold trickling in. What do I know? Maybe even like per treasury you own. That could be interesting. That's what I feel like. But tell me what do you think about the promotion, and I'm gonna guess it like there's a lot of players who like it, even though it's like, man, kind of pointless tech, to be honest. You could rush, like I said, you can rush it. It's very strong early, or you just ignore it and you get your standard upgrades, and then it's like I don't really need it at that point. So, in my opinion, this change, like, as much as I appreciate the change to the reserve stack, I feel like this change did nothing really good. Or like something that would be like interesting, something that would make like the mode like, how should I say it? I don't know how to say it. like keep I would say keep the challenge while also like not having like some key to some super strong buffs early on. And you have to remember, like, you don't have to get like two other tags before getting this tag. Like, yeah, surely you invest more gold, but at the same time, if you have like some good buffs for your units. It's like gold you invest early to get like almost tier 3 upgrade for your units. That's what I feel like. It's like greater investment early, but for a huge power spike. And that's why I don't like that. Okay. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. It's up to you. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Yeah, sure. People will like it because yay, my unit's becoming even more OP. Why not, right? Why not? Oh boy. We don't need that. We don't need that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment. Like, seriously, tell me what you think about these changes. Like, I feel like the temple costs were like out of nowhere and it's just huge buff for the Persians and that's it. And promotion stack feels like, I'll say it again, I just don't like it. It's unbalanced, it's pointless. There's no reason for it, okay? It's either gonna make your units strong early because it grants them huge buffs, or you get it late game, at which point, who cares? Okay? That's the short way of saying it and why I don't like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.